Well, yeah. So I'm teaching in kindergarten teacher training, and I'm I'm working from a social cultural learning theory. We're participating in community with speech and practical activity is important for the child's development. In kindergarten, the child learns from the adults, but also from each other. And for me, as a lecturer in preschool teacher training, visiting kindergartens on a regular basis is a way to get to know the children's interest, play, and culture. There's a Norwegian professor, Marit Hopperstad, she calls it a discovery hunt. When we go into the kindergartens to see what we find and learn from it. So this presentation built on a visit to a kindergarten in Norway from February 2023. The children will get fictive names, and parents have given me permission to show their drawings. This is case study where you see the child, one child as an individual instead of as part of a larger group. During my visits, my aim was to learn, or during these visits, my aim was to learn more about the children's work with multimodal text and early literacy. Literacy is the composite competence that involves skills in creating meaning using different signs and different modalities. It's about language development, about being able to interpret and understand text, and to communicate both in writing and orally. The oral language the child learns from birth until he or she starts school is often referred to as early literacy. And multimodal text consists of at least two different modalities or ways of expressing oneself. For example, by image, music, dance, video, oral, or written text. In order to understand stories and children's multimodal text, narratology is a good tool. A narrative can be defined as a course of events with a beginning and an end, as a bounded temporal sequence. Though the children's stories will often lack the basic structure and dynamic development. Participating in a drawing session as an observer can be a good way to gain a better insight into children's multimodal text and early literacy. So one of the adults in the kindergarten provided the children with drawing utensils, and the children could draw freely. I joined them and will now present some of the drawings from this session, because some of them are really, they're really interesting in many ways. For instance, this one. This is a tractor. Everybody sees a tractor. The boy that was drawing it was 4.5 years old. These kids grew up in a rural community, and the boys knew their tractors. Eric even knew how to write a name for one of the tractors. It's a Fiat 100. The only thing he didn't know what direction the letters should come. As you can see, he wrote the name Fiat from right to left, while the numbers go from left to right. Both the F and the number 1 is written in the right way. He didn't know any of the letters' name, but he knew the words. He is in what is called the logographic stage. It's a stage where the child remembers the shape of the letters but has no phonetic insight. It's a matter of copying letters as icons or images. There is another drawing. This one I made actually, because when joining these children, I was told to draw something. And since the children in this kindergarten was very interested in dinosaurs, I drew one. And there was this girl, Hannah. She was close to 4 years old, and she loved my drawing, and she wanted to color it, so I gave it to her. And you can see she did a great job with keeping the color inside the lines. And then she got help from a boy to draw something more. For instance, those sharp teeth in the dinosaur's mouth, and this child in front of it. And you can see that this child is dead. You see the tongue is hanging out of her mouth, the crosses in her eyes, and the blood around the child. And all the children around the table, they loved this drawing. So I had to make another dinosaur so they could make another drawing with a dead child in front of it. In a way, I would say that this is kind of morbid, but you have to remember, fear is, along with joy, sadness, disgust, and anger, one of the basic human emotions. Thrill can be an exciting feeling, but children can only enjoy the thrill when they know that they are safe and the thrill is not real. So just go on drawing these dead children as long as it's just a story for them. And here is my third drawing, drawn by Peder. He was 5.5 years old at the time. He chose to draw Mario from the game Super Mario. And while the drawing was developing, Peter talked about it, and thus he produced a multimodal text, drawing and telling. Well, all these three drawings provide us with a story and thus a multimodal text. The text I will dwell on more on is this last one, the one about Super Mario. And my focus is how the child's digital play can be an introduction to literacy. Well, Peter was drawing. He was so engrossed in what he was doing, and was not too concerned with whether anyone was following what he was saying. He was in the flow. I was curious, was this story for here and now, or would he remember the story next day after he finished it? So to find an answer to that, I asked him to talk about what he had drawn the day after the drawing session. And here comes his narrative. This is what he told, and the numbers I have pointed there is to try to explain where the different things is. There is Mario. There is a locked door. There you see a round window with the moon. It is the moon that shines. There is Boom Boom. You have to jump on Boom Boom's head 3 times, and then there is lava below. You have to press that axe there, and there is a room where there are lots of things, but it's difficult to find the key. There is a Bowser. There are several Bowsers here. There are 2 of them that have been hiding somewhere. And then there are many question marks. You see, you have to do some tasks to get the key to unlock the door. You may keep the drawing and take it home with you and learn more. Also playing. It is a game. I want to look even closer into the drawing. Here is Mario. Mario is the protagonist in the digital game Super Mario from Nintendo. And he's easily recognized by his characteristic mustache. And here is Bowser, the antagonist and arch rival of Mario, who also got the features that are characteristics of the digital game. An animal snout with many large teeth and spikes on his back. And Boom Boom, or Bob Omb, as he's really called in the game, he has this slightly innocent expression from the game. The drawing is simple, and the oral narrative alone is referential. But together they create a dynamic narrative. In the center of the drawing, you can see the moon, and the yellow below is the lava. It gives you the impression that here it is night, perhaps dark, and it is dangerous. One step wrong, and you end up in the lava flow. Mario, you see, in the far left of the drawing, he looks straight at the viewer while smiling widely. He's ready to move further into the drawing in the direction of reading to solve the tasks that fly around. And on the opposite side, you see Bowser. He has his gaze turned to the left. Perhaps he's scouting for Mario. And Bom Bom hovers directly above Mario. When you know what the individual objects of the drawing are supposed to be, you see them so clearly. The tiny door that will get bigger when Mario moves closer, the axe, the key, and all the lines that indicate question marks. When Peder uses drawing to convey a message, it shows that he has learned something fundamental about the value of a model text. Writing is about understanding the connection between phonemes and graphemes, and in addition, one have to have a message one wishes to convey. British Professor Kate Pall and Jennifer Roswell point out how literacy is always shaped by the social context in which it occurs. Literacy in school and home are different. They claim that the motivation to write is clearer when placed in an everyday context, and present the theory of artifactual literacy. Artifacts or objects have an important role in most people's lives. They are material and they represent culture. For a child, an artifact could be a motivation force in writing. The tangible objects have a story to tell. And Peter, he brought a cultural experience with him from home, where the computer game about Mario is the artifact that initiates a process for him. He has a message he wants to convey, and through drawing, he encodes it on a sheet of paper. You may keep the drawing and take it home with you and learn more and also play, he said. He expected that I was able to read his drawing and understand more of what he wanted to convey through it. Great expectation in me. Digital games is an activity that does not quite fit in what is stated in the Norwegian framework plan for kindergarten about digital tools. According to the plan, the staff must exercise sound digital judgment. They must be actively involved with the children when using digital tools. And then digital tools must be used with care and not become a dominant practice. They talk about a digital tool, not a game. Norwegian senior researcher Beate Wold Hyggen from NTNU, she has been researching children, young people, and digital games for a number of years. And she pointed out the many existing negative associations with digital games. Concerns about aggression, overgaming, reversed circadian rhythms, addiction, weakness, social skills, and poor physical fitness gnaw at many parents and often becomes a source of conflict in the home. Adults are worried. Are our worries justified? Well, it's hard to say. And this is probably why Hyggen calls for research that look into the possible benefits of computer gaming. Children do not play to learn, but that doesn't mean that they don't learn anything from playing. And the same can be said about computer games. Children do not play them to learn, but that does not say that learning does not take place. Rather the opposite. It's easy to consider digital games as meaningless because one has not learned to read computer games. To understand digital games, you need a new type of literacy where you interpret signs, pictures, and other visual symbols. This is a literacy that Peter might have expertise in. It's a game, he said about his drawing. The drawing of the game was more than a visual representation of a digital game for Peter. It was just as good as playing the game itself. And my focus for the study was how can a child's digital play be an introduction to literacy. In developing literacy, it is important to be able to decode and understand signs. And it's also important to understand why one reads or why one writes. To be able to write, one needs something to write about. You need a message. And Peter wished to convey a story about a computer game he likes, for which he used drawing as a medium. Various symbols in his drawing have a meaning, and if one knows the game, one recognizes them and can interpret them. He shows knowledge on how to read a computer game, and he can convey a message through picture and signs. Through digital play, he has received an important knowledge he can bring with him and develop further when he learns to convey a message using letters for encoding. Digital games are part of children's interest, play, and culture. What is needed is further research on computer gaming, digital literacy to learn more about the possible benefits of play.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.